Hey everyone, it's TB Shores. It's July the 14th, 2021. It is 9:55 p.m. um, let's see. I'm trying to decide. Again, I'm overwhelmed with things. Okay, in the last video, I just took some time to clarify a few things that I felt needed to be fresh on everyone's mind, because as we progress in our discussion of what's coming, it's helpful to understand about the difference in the Holy Spirit fire and the transformation that comes at the 3 days of darkness. So I thought it was important that we had that understanding fresh on our mind as we continue on. But what I want to talk about now, I'm going to pop over here to the calendar. This is July 2021, and this is where we are today. Okay, we've already discussed about July 10th and the 1st of Av, and how there's 9 intense days of mourning that takes us to the 9th of Av. Now, we know, because I have been led back to it and back to it over and over, that last year, the 9th hour and the 9th of Av and the destruction of the temple were very significant in how the Lord was teaching me and what He was teaching me. Okay, and then we moved on to this year, and the study that He had me to bring this year tied directly into what He showed me last year, because it was about, if you remember, the 9th of Av is all about, when we look here, at the time frame here. There's a 3-week period. It started on the 17th of Tammuz that goes up to the 9th of Av. That's all about a time of mourning over the destruction of the temple as they come up to that date. Now keep in mind, the 9th of Av to the Jewish people is a day of destruction, okay? And it's important to remember that in what I'm about to talk about. So what the Lord wants me to emphasize is that the 9th hour is the same as the 9th of Av, because these are both times of destruction of the temple. He wants us to make that connection. This is about the destruction of the fleshly temple that the Lord walked on this earth in. 9th of Av is about the destruction of the 2 temples made by hands. The 9th hour is about the destruction of the temple that wasn't made with hands. Okay? And from that, the Lord took us to this Breach and Destroy series, which is all about the destruction of this temple, our temple. Because in 1 Corinthians, I think I got it pulled up right here, 1 Corinthians 3:16, Scripture clearly says, "Know ye not that ye are the temple of God?" So let's keep that in the forefront of our mind as we proceed. It's important that we grasp the importance and the magnitude of what is happening with this stick, and how it is about the destruction of this temple that we are, the temple of God. Okay? Now, what the Lord has shown me, and I'm not going to get into a lot of detail on explaining this part, but I just want to y'all bear with me, because there's some things I'm going to discuss. It's very personal to me, and it's already starting to come up in me. Okay. Um, the ninth hour, the significance of the ninth hour is about the destruction of the fleshly body, the temple not made with hands. And the ninth of Ab, just like I said, is about the destruction of the two handmade temples made by men. But it is about a day of destruction. Both are about a day of destruction, okay? Now, as we look, I'm just going to pop over here to this, and we're going to read some of this. It's about the ninth of Av. It says, Av is the 11th month of the Jewish civil year. Okay, if we look at it on the calendar here, and we see it here on the July calendar, we need to keep in mind that the Hebrew calendar has a civil year and an ecclesiastical year. I think they call it a sacred year. Okay, the ninth of Av on the civil year is the 5th month, but the ninth of Av in the ecclesiastical year or sacred year is the 11th month, okay? The 11th month. Av is the 11th month. Oh, excuse me, I got that backwards. 11th month on the civil calendar, and it's the 5th month on the ecclesiastical. I'm sorry, I got that backwards. I apologize. But we need to note that with that information, this right here, we can see it as if this is the 11th month, Av is the 11th month, so then that would be 9/11. Are you following me? I know there's information out about this. I know I've had people send it to me, but the Lord's never had me focus on it before. He's just kind of had me brush over it and not put a lot of focus on it. And now I understand why. Because He only brings us to recognize and understand and insert things at the time that He wants it there. And it had to be done this way, and you'll understand why, I think, when I'm done with this video, I hope. So, the ninth of Av, if Av is the 11th month on the civil year, so the ninth of Av is 9/11. And we know that the ninth of Av to the Jewish people is a very destructive day. Not only was one temple destroyed, but both temples were destroyed, and both temples were destroyed in the same manner. They were set aflame both times. Okay. Now, it's important to note that because it was by fire. Okay, it was by fire that they were destroyed. Now, when we come back up here and we look at this a little bit more, Av is the 11th month of the Jewish civil year. I'm trying to see, right here, some of the darkest events in Jewish history have taken place during the month of Av, especially during the days leading up to the 9th of Av, known as Tisha B'Av. It just goes on to say, I wish to focus upon the 9th of Av. To the Jews, the 9th of Av is 9/11. So there it is. So that information is out there. The Lord's just never had me focused on it because it's when He shows us things in His way that it hits us with the wow factor, if you know what I mean. Okay. The 9th day of the 11th month. This is a striking coincidence that I know you have not often, if ever, heard in the media or anywhere else. Now, I have had people to send it to me, but like I said, the Lord didn't have me focus on it because now is when He wanted me focused on this. And you'll understand why here in a few minutes. Now, so we can clearly see the 9th of Av is a 9/11, and then it is also equated to the 9/11 that we know, because this did set a precedent not in just in this country of the United States, but worldwide, as 9/11 being a day of destruction. And I find it very interesting and not coincidental that our emergency number that we dial in case of disaster or emergencies is 9/11. So this number is very significant in this world, okay? And you've got to remember, Satan has a hold on this world for now. And I wanted to point out to you this 9/11 connection. I'm trying to find that. Here it is. Here it is. Now, the Lord had me to do, and the Lord showed me how significant that it was about 9/11 and what happened there, and how Satan had set that whole area basically is something that Satan set up. It's like a stronghold for him in this country. It is the hub by which he drew all the nations in for the lust of the dollar, by trade, by sea. And if you read Revelation 18 with that thought in mind, and you read about the ships that weep, oh, I hate not remembering stuff. Bear with me just a minute, because I'm going to look it up right quick, right here in my Bible. Okay, Revelation 18. And it says, bear with me just a second while I find it. Standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come, and the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth their merchandise anymore. So we see it's about the trade, okay? We see it's about the trade. Then when we get over here to verse 17 in Revelation 18, it says, For in 1 hour so great riches is come to naught, and every shipmaster, and all the company in ships, and sailors, and as many as trade by sea, stood afar off, and cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, What city is this? What city is like unto this great city? And they cast dust on their heads and cried, weeping and wailing, saying, Alas, alas, that great city wherein were made rich all that had ships in the sea, by the reason of her costliness. For in 1 hour is she made desolate. Okay, so if you read Revelation 18, keeping in mind that that was Satan's hub to draw all the nations into the lust for the dollar, because the dollar was the all-time idol, to draw people's hearts away from God, because it became what everyone strove to have was more money, more money, more money, because it can buy this and this and this and this, and they quit seeking the Lord, and they put more emphasis on making the money by their hands, the works of their hands. You know, the scriptures talk about that repeatedly, the works of their hands, and how God does not like that they idolize the works of their hands. Okay, now, having got into that, back in 2015, the Lord had me to really get into looking into the World Trade Center complex and understanding all that Satan had embedded there. And I mean, it absolutely blew my mind as I studied this about the World Trade Center. There is a issue there with what is called the oculus. It's the eye. It actually is connected to the all-seeing eye, and it also goes along with what we learned in the Breach and Destroy series about the third eye and the light and the darkness and how it affects it, and how the stick is going to work within the body, within that, to try to silence the voice of God within. Okay, this destroying the temple of the Lord is what is going on. I want to just show you a few more videos here so you'll know what titles to go looking for. Matrix, the eye tells all. The eye, widening the view. The eye. This is all about what they've set up there at the World Trade Center complex, and it goes back to the temple. Okay, it all goes back to the temple because the Lord showed me how Satan had embedded so much. I don't quite know how to word this, but he had set him up a stronghold there. And if you go back and look at those older videos from May 2015 that talk about the World Trade Center and the Oculus and the eye and the Matrix, you'll get a better understanding of just how in control Satan is of that particular place. And that's not the only place, okay? It's just that particular place. Now, this connects us to 9/11. And I'm going to have to cut this off and continue on in the next video. But we're going to talk about 9/11 and how it connects to the temple, okay? I'll be back. I love y'all. Bye-bye.